Hello. So today we're going to be talking about body peace and aging. And, for decades, women have tried to work on fixing their body. But what if instead they listened in with compassion and made peace with their body instead of being at war and fighting with it? So we're going to be diving into exactly what body peace means today and how it can change everything from how you eat, live, and yes, how you even age. So, hi, I'm Susanne Sharrard. I'm a yoga teacher and I'm the founder of the Yoga and Movement Circle for Women 50 Plus. And I am here with Nina Manolson, who is a body peace coach that supports women in their wellness journey now for 25 plus years. She's a therapist with a master's in clinical mental health counseling and psychology, and she holds a national board certification as a health and wellness coach and a certified body trust provider. She brings a deep, compassionate approach to help women feel at home in their body without dieting, judgment, and shame. And so, welcome, welcome, Nina. I am so excited
Mm.
to talk to you about such an important topic. And I hope I introduced you in all of your awesomeness. So, let us know
Oh,
if there's anything else that you'd like to add. Say hello and let us know a little bit more about yourself.
oh, Suzanne, first of all, thank you for that lovely introduction. And I want to just dive right into something you said that was so powerful. You said, what if? What if we had a more compassionate relationship with ourselves? Right. And I have talked to so many women that said, oh my gosh, if I hadn't spent decades in the war with my body, if I hadn't spent decades learning how to count grams and calories and, every little iota of information about nutrition and what I was putting exactly into my body and what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing. One woman said, I could have figured out how to feed a whole village in Africa, honestly, with the amount of time that, in her words, that I wasted on obsessing about what I ate and my body. And it is a war. We're in a war that's like caught us, that sort of really gets us entangled in obsession, in being right or wrong, instead of, oh my gosh, how amazing. I get to be in this body and it's so human and so not perfect. It's perfectly imperfect. And what if we had that life of more compassion, more body peace? What would our life really be like?
Well, that is really beautiful and a very powerful statement. So, tell us a little bit more about exactly what body peace means, what that is, and why do we really need this in our life?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the easiest ways to think about body peace is actually to flip it and to look at body war because we know that so well. So I know it personally because I did the Monday morning diet for a gazillion years, right? That's the war. Oh, tomorrow I'll start again.
Mhm.
Or, oh my gosh, I'm really unhappy with my body. What's the new plan? Right? What's my plan of action? How am I going to tackle it this time? How am I going to manage my body? First of all, we do not need to be managed. It doesn't feel good to be managed. It doesn't feel good to be controlled. It doesn't feel good to be manipulated because ultimately what we're going to do is rebel against that. So that pushback against the sort of onslaught of this is how you should be in your body with that pointed wagging finger, that's the feeling of body war. Body peace, on the other hand, is a feeling of this is a good place to live. Okay, body, what do you need? How can I support you? How can I be on your side? How can I be an ally for what makes me feel best? How can I be compassionate with myself as my body changes and ages? Because guaranteed bodies change. It is what they do from the very moment we're born, they start changing. Right? There's an exercise that I do in one of my programs, and I'm like, okay, let's just list out your life every 5 years. We're going to just run through 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, etc. And tell me, how did your body change in those 5 years? Right? So everybody does their whole life 5-year increments. And then I often ask, so what do you notice? And the answer inevitably is my body was always changing. And so why is it that somewhere along the line, we were told, nope, no body changes for you. You had that perfect body when you were 15 and fit into the skinny jeans, and now that's how you're supposed to stay for the rest of your life. Or we never had that. We always struggled with our body, but there's a forever aspirational beauty ideal that we're supposed to go for. And then that's going to be it. That we just have to keep hustling for that, morph our body instead of, wow, my body is evolving. It is changing. And how do I support my body where it is now through childbirth or infertility or injury or hospitalizations or menopause or just plain old aging and things changing or pain or a million ways that our bodies change? How do we be in relationship? That's the key word. That's fundamentally what Body Peace is about. It's about a relationship with our body. How do we stay and maintain and create a strong, supportive, connected, and yummy, fun, pleasurable relationship with our body? That's what we want.
Well, that is just so powerful. And to achieve that type of scenario on an everyday basis, I can imagine would bring so much joy into our life to be able to finally let go of those struggles. Thanks for sharing that. And, uh, what kind of relationship do most women have with their body? And I wanted to ask you, how did we end up this way? Why did this happen, do you think?
Yeah. So there's two relationships most women have with their body. These are the relationships that our culture has taught us. That's why we have them. Our culture has taught us, oh, yeah, your body's not okay. So I learned a lot about what my body was supposed to look like from 17 magazine. That was the magazine, that was the It magazine that I grew up on. And I would look at it and go, oh, that's how I'm supposed to look. Right. So that was the beauty ideal. We get an external beauty ideal that says, this is how you're supposed to look. And now it's the blogs and the Instagram and all of the social media that's telling us how to be in relationship with our body. But then it was 17. Oh, you don't look like that? Well, then you should do this diet, right? So what I was fundamentally taught was the relationship you're going to be within your body is one of body shame, that your body isn't right. There's something wrong. So I'm either in a relationship of hating my body and feeling shame. Then I go, oh, I feel bad. Well, how do I fix that? How do I fix feeling bad? And 17, just turn the page and there's a new diet to try. Oh, you just manage your body. That's how you fix your body. So those are the two relationships we're taught. Hate your body and feel bad about it. And if you don't want to hate and feel bad about it all the time, try managing it. And here, we've got a diet for you. We've got a product for you. We've got a way for you to change. And fundamentally, those are the two relationships with our body that women are stuck with. I feel bad or I'm a project. Now, the promise in there is if I do the project right, if I manage my body just right, if I control everything, then I will get to that elusive body love, right? And thankfully, in the last 15 years, there's a whole language around body love and body positivity. That's awesome. But the concept is if we manage our body just right, then we can love our body. But managing or controlling is not sustainable. Nobody can sustain that because inevitably we go on a diet or we try some new plan and it feels tight, it feels aggressive, it feels bad. And we're like, forget that. And our inner rebel shows up and goes, I'm going to eat that anyway. I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. Nobody's the boss of me, right? Especially when we're past 50, we're so done with it. You're like, don't tell me what to do anymore. I am done with that. Right. And then we're back in, body hate, body shame. I can't keep it up. there's something wrong with me. And so fundamentally, the relationships that we are taught as women are the wrong relationships to be in. It's like saying to us as young women who are interested in being with a partner, go find somebody who's really aggressive. That's who you want. And then we go find somebody who's aggressive and it's no fun and we don't want it anymore. And the culture goes, no, no, but that's the right kind of relationship. We'd be like, are you kidding me? I want to be treated well. I want to be treated with kindness. I want to be treated with respect. I want to be listened to. I want to be heard. And so that's what we need to do. We need to create a different type of relationship with our body. And that is possible. That's what body peace is. It's a practice of cultivating your own type of relationship that actually works. Because if you were stuck in a toxic, abusive relationship for years, you'd be like, get me out. And that's what we
Yeah.
deserve.
So, so powerful. And I can really relate to that. For me, I think it started around 7 with the Barbie doll, that
Mm-hmm.
36, 24, 36.
Oh
And as
my
an adult,
gosh.
yeah, as an adult, I realized who has a figure like that? I don't think anyone that I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I practice mindfulness, and it's all about gratitude and appreciation. And when I start appreciating my body, thanking my lungs for breathing and my heart for
Mm-hmm.
beating and my elbows and arms for being strong to carry all those jugs of water in from the grocery store type of thing. I really do come into a whole different perspective about my body. So
Well,
it's
Susanne, what
really,
you're talking about is so important. What you're talking about is a very key aspect of cultivating a more positive body image, and that is looking at functionality. Because we look through a lens, an aesthetic lens often. This is how it's supposed to look. And that becomes our judgment for how the relationship is going. And you're speaking to something incredibly powerful, which is let's look at how our body functions and use that as one of the touch points of a positive relationship with our body.
yeah, very interesting. I hadn't thought of it as a touch point. So let's segue into what kind of roadblocks do we face, and what are those different touch points and challenges? So if a woman wants to work on changing her relationship with her body, what are the roadblocks and challenges that she needs to overcome, and what does she need to do to achieve that?
Yeah. The first roadblock really is that we go, you know what, I want to change it. And we look out there for the answer. Who's going to tell me how to be in relationship with my body? Now, of course, we can be guided, right? It's what you do, it's what I do. We want to be guided, but there isn't an answer out there. That's the big roadblock is that we think, oh, I'll pick up this book and it'll give me a step by step. It's like picking up a relationship book. Okay, I'm going to take that relationship book, I'm going to put it into my marriage or my partnership, and I'm going to just read the book and then I'm going to transfer that directly. No, we have to practice it. And we have to go, you know what, that technique, that feels a little hokey in this relationship. This feels more authentic. This is, I want more listening. I want more quiet with myself. I want more of a bubbly conversation. We need to authorize ourselves to be the wisest teacher. The wisest teacher in the room, always. And I know, Susanne, you are a big believer of this. The wisest teacher is always your body. And so when we're trying to change the toxicity of our relationship with our body or food, and we're like, okay, what's the new plan? Wait, the new plan is me. The old plan was me. I just didn't know that was the plan. And authorizing ourself. So that's where we want to start first is learning how to listen, learning how to tune in, learning how to decode what our body is saying, because many of us were just like taught to ignore, right? I hear it all the time, and it's most pronounced in nurses and teachers. When I talk about listening to your body, and the basic thing is like, I need to pee. And I talk to nurses and they're like, yeah, no, that doesn't happen until the end of the day. I'm like, so when do you notice you have to pee? She's like, they're often like, well, somewhere in the middle of the day, I know I have to, but I got another room to go to and I got another person to take care of and I got to run. So I just hold it. Right? Fundamentally, we're taught that. That's an extreme case with nurses and teachers because they're just so on with other people that they're caring for. But fundamentally, that is what so many of us women do and have learned to do, which is I have a need. My body is saying something. Never mind. I'll just push that off. I don't really need to pay attention. And so one of the first things we want to do in creating a relationship with our body is go, oh, you, body, I'm listening to you. And one very, very simple, powerful technique is just, and Susanne, we can do it right now. It's just put our hands on our heart, close your eyes, and you say, hello, body. And it's a powerful thing because what we're doing is making contact. Like I have a body. Yep, it exists. Here it is. And I am starting a conversation. I was just talking to a client yesterday and I said, what would start the conversation? How do you want to start a conversation every morning? And she thought about it and she said, I just want to lie in bed and I think I'll just say, hey, girl. And I was like, and how does that feel? She said, it feels really different than picking up my phone and looking at everybody else on Instagram and comparing myself. It makes me connected to me. Hey, girl, how are you doing? What do you want today? And it's small steps, it's small practices. Body peace isn't a destination. It's not like a gymnast landing that you land and then you stick it forever. It's a practice, like yoga is a practice. You get on the mat every day, your body's a little different. Body peace is a practice of being in relationship, a connected, communicative, compassionate relationship with your body on a daily basis through all the ups and downs of living and being a human being.
Well, I love those examples. I hadn't ever thought of the nurse holding uh, to pee from having to work. We are trained like that. And the example of tuning into our body instead of getting on social media, that's really, really powerful. So for a woman who is in an abusive struggle relationship with her body, do you have some pointers of what she can start doing to shift her thought pattern in that way and change that relationship?
Yeah. So that first, like I said, is start the conversation, right? Just start it, whether it's, hey girl, whether it's hello body, putting a hand on your body and physically connecting with our own body is very powerful because we live in a society where we do like live from the neck up, right? Like we're thinking about things, we got a million things to do, we got to respond to this one. Anything that helps us come into our own skin. And the tool we always have is our own hands. Even just you're sitting in a meeting, put your hands on your lap and press a little bit. Feel your own pressure of your hands on your legs. Make contact. Like a little bit like, like people are going to the moon or some, far off planet or some, Star Trek or something. And it's that first contact. Make contact. Oh, look, you're there. I see you. And then slow down and listen. Because sometimes we're like, yeah. Okay, I see you. Oh, yeah, you're hungry. Yeah, later. Later, you'll eat later. And then later, we wonder why the heck did we eat everything in the whole house? Well, we didn't respond 3 hours ago to when we were hungry. Now our body's too hungry. And now we're playing catch up with our blood sugar and our needs, right? When we make contact, stop and listen. Right. One of the things that I do in many of my workshops is so let's talk about a relationship. Let's talk about a good relationship and let's talk about bad relationships. Right. And when people talk about good relationships, they know what goes into a good relationship. Right. Communication, respect, listening, right? And so many more. But that's the place to start. Start the communication. Tune in and wait and listen. It's why literally I have my course Body Listening Lab, because we're not trained into listening to our body. And we need some tools that refine that skill of how do we actually know what our body is saying and decode that sensation so that we know, am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I thirsty? Am I, what am I? Because often we've ignored for so long that then it's sort of this overwhelm of and then we flop. Then we're like on the sofa watching Netflix, not sure what the heck happened. We just have ignored ourselves all day, and the only way that we can catch up is just by flopping and eating something out of a package. But we deserve better. We need better.
Yeah, and stress, this causes so much stress. I work on practicing mindfulness on a daily basis, and one thing that I realized was getting stressed in traffic and driving. And I teach breath work, and in mindfulness, there's three core principles. The first is connecting to the body, so I would breathe deep and just. The second principle is kind of like non-judgment observing, and I'd realize I'm gripping the steering wheel and feeling stressed, and then you start to relax, because then the third principle is coming into gratitude. So I really love that. I think awareness is so important, and so really powerful message.
Yeah.
Well, today is about body, peace, and aging, so maybe we could talk a little bit about our relationship with our body as we age, and
Mhm.
maybe you can touch on that a little bit too.
Yeah. So if being in a body as a woman, as we in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, you know, we're like, learning how to be, right? It can be hard, it can be easy times, it's a lot of things. But you hit 50, 60, 70, 80, you're now in the master class of being in a very complex body, pretty much across the board. There's not one woman who's over 50 that doesn't have something going on in their body. And so it does require us to have more compassion. And one of the things, there's a woman, Rebecca Levy, who has an incredible statistic, and she says that the most powerful thing we can do for ourselves as we're aging is have a pro-aging attitude. That in fact, more than quitting smoking, which gives you an extra 2 years, having a pro-aging attitude adds 8.5 years, 7.5 or 8 years to your life. And so if, let's take that pro-aging attitude concept, if you're in a body and you're like, I hate my body, I hate my body, I hate my tummy, I hate my chin, I hate whatever it is about it, that is not pro-aging. That is causing more stress. That is anti-aging. That's anti your whole body. Pro-aging is, wow, this is an amazing time of my life for me to grow and learn and evolve and experiment and learn new things and feel truly free. It's one of the incredible gifts of aging is that sense of freedom. Sometimes, not everybody, but sometimes we have a little less responsibility as we get older, sometimes more, right? There's still women in their 50s, definitely in the sandwich generation of taking care of kids and taking care of parents. But some of those, sometimes kids are older, we're not so in the young mom stage or the hustle for work stage. There's incredible opportunity to feel free. And part of that freedom is feeling good in your body, is feeling like you know what to eat because you're listening to your body, feeling of knowing that you're going to eat what you need and put down your fork and there'll be more, and not feeling like you're coping with all the stressors of life by eating and burying your feelings.
Yeah, that's just such great advice, how we perceive ourselves for sure. And I didn't realize that about those statistics. That's very interesting. Increasing your life 7 to 8 years by how you perceive aging. That's really powerful compared to smoking. I had no idea. So, thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
What would you to say to someone who feels disappointed or discouraged about how their body is responding? They may have illnesses or health challenges.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is it's hard. We can't like Pollyanna the difficulty of being a human being. We can't be like, oh, it's okay, chin up, be super positive. I am not a big believer in what I consider sometimes toxic positivity, like just think positive. Often we need to be in the grief of my body is not behaving the way I wish it would. My body is having a health crisis. I'm really sad about the lack of mobility or the lack of strength. Whatever it is, we're allowed to grieve. We're allowed to grieve the body we used to have. We're allowed to grieve the body we hoped we would have. Grief is so much a part of what it means to be in our body and feel free because it includes all our feelings. And so we have to make space for the challenge that it is. That's the first thing is, yeah, you're disappointed. That makes sense. Yeah, you wished it would have been different. I hear you. Wow, that diagnosis is crushing. Totally get it. Can we let those feelings be there? Let that part of us that is so demoralized really grieve. And likely is there'll be another part of us that evolves and goes, okay, so given this situation, how do I best support myself? How do I best be on my side? How do I best be my own team? What supports do I need? How can I listen to my body where it is now? And all of that, listening to the grief, and then also listening to the part of us that wants to take the step forward, all of that is compassion. And fundamentally, that's a core relationship, right? We talked about the different types of relationships we can have with our body, right? One of body hate, one of body management, body shame. And a very important relationship we want to cultivate is body compassion. How do I be caring and be really honoring, like, it's not easy being human. And it's very hard to be a woman in our culture with all the expectations.
Well, that's really powerful. I almost felt teary-eyed there because when we get older and have health challenges, it is very hard. And that's the best advice to be compassionate. So thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
One last topic and then we'll wrap up. So, how can we reframe aging not as a decline, but as a deepening of our relationship with our body?
So the answer is right in the question. We
Mm.
deepen the relationship with our body because there's so much. One of the joys that I have, because most of the women I work with are over 50, is is like I'll say, you've lived in your body for a decade or two. Tell me what you know. Tell me what your body has already told you. Because it's not like we're walking in like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in a brand new romance. No, we've been living with this body for a long time. We know a thing or two. So, how do we deepen that relationship? How can we be more honoring? How can we be more listening? How can we be more respectful? And that doesn't mean like, oh, that then I'll just sit on the sofa. That's not what that means. Because there's probably a part of you that says, I want to define wellness on my own terms. I don't want some fitness instructor to say, the healthy looks like 500 burpees. Like, that's not it, right? I'm sure people walk into your yoga class and everybody has a different idea of what being successful on that mat is. right? For some people, it's lying there and breathing. For some people, it's feet up on the wall. For some people, it's giant full body stretches. For some people, it's accommodating a frozen shoulder, right? We're all different. And so, how do we be in this relationship with our body in a way that is respectful for where she's at right now and supports our own definition of well being that we move towards with compassion, slowly, and with grace and with support? That's the other thing I want to say. So much of the time, so many women come and go, I tried this and I tried this and I tried this and I bought this book and I did this diet and I'm a failure. It didn't work out because we think it's a solo sport. It's my body. I should know. I've read all the blogs. I've read all the books. I should know already. But women are community builders. There's a whole school of psychology, feminist psychology, that talks about how women learn and grow in community. It's where we do best. So we do best in communities like yours, Susanne, where there's yoga. We do best in communities like mine, where there's body peace, where there's other people who want to really sink in to that definition of this is the kind of wellness I want in my life. I want to feel free in my body. I want to feel like this is where I'm going to live for a long time and I'm going to enjoy living here, my body.
Well, I just love that because I always tend to say to my audience, it's easy to consume information, but it's the doing that really transforms your life and brings change. And we so
Totally.
need community. I love that you pointed that out. And you actually have a freebie for the listeners today.
Mhm.
Maybe you want to share about that. And you also have a couple of upcoming courses, I think.
I do. I
Tell us
do.
about that.
So the first thing is I have a wonderful free resource for anybody who wants to deepen into where their relationship is with their body. And it's a journal, it's a free journal, and you can find it on my website, ninamanolson.com, or Body Peace with Nina, all one word.com. And it's the Body Peace Practice Journal. And what it has is 20 questions. There are 20 questions that I would ask you if you were sitting in my session with me. And there's also 5 body peace poems. So I write poems about women's relationship with their bodies. And they're things for you to sort of riff off of and get inspiration from, because it's things from my own story of my own body and stories that I've heard from other women. So that's free. And it's a great resource. I highly recommend it. A great way just to start thinking about, how do I want my relationship to be with my body? And the other thing is, if you're ready for another wonderful, powerful and step, is the Body Listening Lab. And it's starting on May 14th, 2025. And it's a 4 session on Zoom live with me. And we're really focusing on listening to your body at the table: fullness, hunger, satiety, cravings, satisfaction, pleasure, how to choose foods that actually support you, how to honor your body when it comes to eating and choosing food. And that's the focus of Body Listening Lab. So that starts next week. And there's also a wonderful pay what you can sale going on for that program as well.
Well, awesome. So all the links will be posted in the description above this video. So that sounds like an amazing freebie and an awesome lab coming up too. I also, when I first found you and started following you, you have an amazing blog with lots of information. Maybe you can talk about your blog, talk about what's in your website, and how can people follow you? You're on multiple social media channels too.
I am. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. If you just Google my name, Nina Manolson. I'm also on TikTok, not quite as much, but there too. And I'm often talking about, whether it's there or on my website in the blog, I'm talking about relationship with your body. I'm talking at how do you do this differently than how we've been trained, which is to be kind of controlling and aggressive with ourselves, which always feels bad. and that we deserve better. So you can find all of that at ninamanolson.com.
Well, thank you so, so much for sharing your wisdom and your insights with us. This is such an important topic. And I really love your message and all of the information that you have out there. So, did you have anything that you want to interject and talk about before we wrap things up? Or
There's one thing that I always want women to know, that if you feel like you're suffering in your relationship with your body or your relationship with eating and food, it doesn't have to be that way. Even if it's gone on for your whole life, even if you've struggled since the beginning, even if your mother told you that your body was not okay, that can change. It really can. People think that that's just the way it is. That's just what it is to be a woman in your body. You just feel bad about it. No. And when you don't feel bad about it all the time, it creates freedom. It gives you your energy back to do the things you want to do in your life. So, the thing that I really want people to know is that relationship can change.
freedom and joy and an amazing transformational process, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Susanne.
Well, thank you so much, Nina. And everyone, if you have any questions, comment in the comments. Nina will try to get back to you and answer your questions. I'll reach out to you or let her know that you've got a question, and follow her. And a great Instagram and Facebook channel that you have. So,
Thank you.
mhm. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope to have you as a guest another time, and we'll talk
Would
to you
love it.
soon.
Good.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.